Hello, my name is Ali Majdian. I am 28 years old. I was born and raised in a small town called Saqqez, which is located in northwest of Iran. I studied physical education at the university, and when I was 21 years old, when I was almost 21 years old, I decided to leave my city and move to another place. I wanted to experience an independent life, and I actually loved it. I loved to be independent, so I decided to move to Kish Island. I moved there. I have lived there for 3 years. I had the pleasure to work with Arisan Language Institute, and I worked with two companies as an interpreter. One of them was a project, international project, focused on tourism industry. Living there for almost 3 years, then I decided to come back to my hometown. Not because I wanted to, because I was forced to, because coronavirus pandemic hit the world and many people lost their jobs and the world was in chaos. So I decided to come back to my hometown. And after that, I joined military and completed military service. And when I finished, I started to work with Arsan Language Institute, but this time as an online English teacher. Yeah, what makes a good teacher? There are many things that um, can make you a good teacher, but one of them, I would say, one of them is understanding your students' concerns. When you understand your students' concerns, so you know most of their questions, you know uh, about things they need, you know what this student what this student wants. And yeah, so understanding your students' concerns is really important. And as a teacher, your job is to understand your students' concerns because each student differs to another student. So when you have a deep understanding of your students' concerns, you can help them much better in this journey. The second one I have just mentioned is your students' needs. When you understand your students' needs as well as your students' concerns, you can help them overcome their challenges. You can learn them to grow. You can make this process enjoyable for them. You can provide them with things that are useful. You can, you know, you can turn a bad experience into an enjoyable and perfect experience for them, which is a success, I believe. Which age group are you interested in working with? Being interested, being interested in working with a age group is a part of this job, and being able to work with a specific age group is another part. I when I actually have a combination of them, when I consider these two factors uh, together, I would say I am a good teacher for adult classes. And my experience actually goes back to working with this age group. If you're a teacher, explain one of the successful lessons. Well, one of the successful lessons that I taught. Well, let's talk about it. One of the successful lessons was teaching present perfect to one of my private students. After the warm up, I went to the board. Uh, I was at the board actually. I was at the board and I tried and I started uh, giving examples in present perfect to my students. For example, I have done my homework. I wrote do, did, done. I circled the word done. Then I actually emphasized on the word done. Then I repeated the example. I have done my homework. Another example. I have played tennis, for example. Played, play, played, played. Circle the third one, emphasized on it, and repeat the example. I have played tennis with my friends. I have eaten sushi. Eat, ate, eaten. Circle, repeat the example. Then, after giving examples, I told my student to give me examples, and I decided to write the examples on the board. And in a controlled way, I gave him three words, like for example, play, play, played, played, circle, played. Give me example with this. He said it. I wrote the example on the board. Another example, another example. Yeah. Then I went to another stage. I wrote questions in present perfect, and my concentration was on yes answers only, not no answers. I gave him examples, and yeah, after that, I asked him questions in present perfect. He answered, I wrote, and helped him to give me the right answer. That's it.